What's up, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And this one I want to break down what's happening with Tesla SPY in the overall market. Just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed 15 in total, not to mention 8.1% APY on uninvested cash. Anyways, let's talk about the market. So, as far as Tesla goes, as of right now, we are range bound for the most part because if you look at Tesla, we got this nice little push upon open. I was expecting this thing to push higher. I did call this out in my morning video. We were looking for this target at about 343. And then I said if that broke, we're looking for essentially just under 348 or so. We came very close to 348 only to get this rejection back down. And now Tesla's just range bound, just like the market. So you guys can see Tesla has this resistance at 344. This is our 50 EMA. Our support is very close to 341. And we're just chomping. We've been doing this for the past almost 2 hours, and we're pretty much just stuck in this range. There's not really much going on with it for now. And the same thing could be said about the broader markets, right? If you look at SPY, very choppy market. Is technically trying to uptrend a little bit, but it's still very choppy. So be very careful if you're trying to trade options on this. We do have a symmetrical like structure. We have a double bottom like formation that formed. This is forming a big W, so this could lead to a little bit more upside later on. But overall, like I said before, despite the uptrend that's there, we are still very choppy, and you want to be very careful in trading options. So going back, and I will talk more about Tesla and others a little bit later, but just know this: as far as the market is moving, we have something very interesting developing right here. We're seeing that at around 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have the FOMC minutes coming out. This is not necessarily an FOMC meeting. It's just going to be the Fed giving us more insights on what other Fed officials are saying about, inflation, other factors like that, and then what their views are for monetary policy. This might affect what the market is pricing in for the Fed funds futures right now, and also for our overall current target rate. So make sure you keep all of that in mind. Right now, the market thinks there's a higher probability we get a cut of 25 basis points for the next December FOMC meeting in about 3 weeks from now. So we'll see if that ends up being the case or not. If more of these Fed speakers favor a cut, this could start going up. This could go down a little bit. And this could push the market a little bit higher. But otherwise, I think that the market is just going to continue to chop around until we get to the big reports. And there's not really a whole lot that's going on. As far as Tesla goes, I expect this to continue to be choppy. If we break 348, we could turn back up for the 352 targets, all the way back up here to this imbalance. And if we lose 336, I think Tesla could be dipping back down to these lows. We have 333, then 330 coming. If that, excuse me, if that level ends up breaking, otherwise we're just completely range bound right now on Tesla. And the market's very boring. It's going to likely remain like this until 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Um, you know, SPY is also very, very choppy, very flat. It does look a little bit more bullish though, as we're holding our 20 EMA very nicely. So we do have the potential to push into the 600s, but just know that for the most part, we're still chopping around. Bitcoin, it has been dipping a bit. We are range bound as well, but this could dip closer to about the 93,500 area. Just continue to dip a little bit more. But I think that we're going to most likely be stuck between 92,000, about 95,000, being range bound. So give this some time to develop. For Nvidia, we're also range bound right here between 135 and 138 going back and forth. So I don't really see a whole lot that's coming out. But besides that, there's not much going on. Even the 4 hour on Nvidia is looking a little bit weaker. But we're just pretty much choppy between 138 and 135. There's just not a whole lot that's going on until we get to the FOMC minutes. If we do get a big move, we want to see it break 140 to turn back up. If we lose 135, we look for 132.5. Otherwise, we're just range bound. NQ is also stuck. We did get very close to it actually did touch my 21,000 target from the morning. But after that, we're just stuck between 20,900 and 21,000 flats, going back and forth and back and forth. The QQQ is on a bit of an uptrend right here. We want to see if this could hold 504 to remain bullish. If we lose 504, we turn bearish. Otherwise, it's just chopping around 508 to 510 for the time being. Still remaining range bound. Apple pumped very nicely to about this 235 area. If we break that, we could be pushing even higher for essentially 237.5. So I see potential in Apple to pump more. So it's looking very, very nice as long as we hold above 234. So give this some time to develop. For MSTR, unfortunately, we're more bearish. We are essentially going to be testing 377. If it doesn't hold, I could see us dip back down for 350. There's not really a whole lot else that's going on with it. For others out there, we have, let me just double check the IWM, looking a little bit weaker. We dipped all the way down to about 239, got bought back up to about 242.6, back down. Now we're just trading sideways. So we're range bound between that range, between 239 and 242. I think we continue to chop around a bit, maybe dipping closer to 237 later on. There is some weakness on the chart, but otherwise, it's just very choppy. AMD, of all things, is looking more bearish. We're getting a bigger dip because of some bearish news that came out. So switching to AMD, we're rejecting here. We could continue to fall for like 135. For ARM, we're rejecting here. We could be tipping for 136 if that fails us. There's a risk of 134. Coin could also be dipping. We're range bound between 307 and 294. We might be retesting 300 and then 294, but I just see us being range bound. Amazon's looking more bullish. We're doing a good job at holding up. We'll have to see if we hold above 204 or not. If 204 holds, we could continue to push for 208 plus. If 204 breaks, we're looking for essentially 202. But I think that Amazon, it's looking more bullish overall. It did a good job at breaking above 202. So there is some upside potential for this. Meta looks a little bit more bullish. We held above 567 quite nicely, so we could continue to try to get closer to 580. Maybe this depends on the FOMC minutes, so get ready for a big move at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Microsoft is also forming a nice inverse head and shoulders. This could get closer to like, 427.5 up in this upper area. Overall, it still has some upside potential. Google's also trying to get very close to 171, which if it breaks, we're looking for 173. So overall, guys, the market is more bullish than bearish. We're doing a good job at holding up, and we're favoring upside even more. As far as Tesla goes, it's doing a good job at holding up, but like I said before, it's still kind of choppy, still very range bound. So I don't really expect too much for now, but we'll see what happens once we get the FOMC minutes release at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So until then, I thank you all so much for listening. Please have a great rest of your day. And one more thing about Tesla, I forgot to mention, there's not really much news coming out. A lot of the news from yesterday is still circulating right now, and Tesla's priced in a lot of that already, so it's not really affecting us as much, by the way. So that's why I'm not really talking as much about Tesla news. We'll have to wait and see what the next catalyst is. We have the FOMC minutes. Also, don't forget that the market's going to be closed on Thursday, and then we only have half a day on Friday. So because it's Thanksgiving week, and because there's like not as much volume in the markets, that's why I'm not really seeing as many like major headlines for Tesla or anything too crazy right now. But that's the reason why we are in a more choppy zone right now and may continue like this. Then we'll see what happens at least as time goes on. But anyways, I thank you all so much for listening. Get ready for the FOMC minutes at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, just a couple of hours away. Until then, have a great day and peace out.